The last text Elizabeth sent was a single period. Investigators would spend 3 months trying to understand what it meant. When police finally breached the door of apartment 4B on October 12th, they did not find her. They found a shattered bathroom mirror, and they found her phone, resting on the edge of the sink, playing a voice note on a continuous loop.
Play the game, sweetie. It's the only way I can see you again.
What investigators would later piece together was a timeline of isolation. A descent that began exactly 23 days earlier, when Liz first moved to Boston. On September 19th, Liz did something she had done countless times before. She unpacked her boxes. She was a postdoctoral fellow at a research lab, a woman governed by logic and routine. She had moved into a cramped 1970s apartment with a friend of a friend named Cassie. Liz was grieving. Her mother had passed away 11 months prior. To cope, Liz kept a habit of listening to old voice notes her mother had sent her. It was the kind of thing nobody thought twice about.
I remember thinking it was going to be a good day. I just needed to settle in, get back to work.
That Tuesday looked exactly like every other Tuesday. Cassie handed over the spare keys in the narrow hallway.
Let me know if you need anything. I'll be out late tonight. I'll be fine. Just unpack.
What no one knew, what Liz herself didn't yet know, was that the apartment was already occupied. Not by a person, but by an anomaly. It started in the bathroom. While organizing the undersink cabinet, Liz noticed a small hole in the baseboard, about the size of 2 fists. Coating the edge of the hole was a thick, gray mucus. It smelled faintly of old copper and damp earth.
I thought it was just bad plumbing. An old building. The kind of thing you explain away at the time.
She wiped it up with a rag and threw the rag away. She made a decision that seemed reasonable at the time. She mentioned it to no one. 3 days later, while looking for extra storage space in the hall closet, Liz found a heavy, leather-bound book shoved behind a broken shelf. It was a diary left by a previous tenant. The pages were filled with frantic, cramped handwriting.
I didn't think anything of it. People leave junk behind all the time.
She sat on her bed and flipped through the pages. The entries detailed a slow descent into paranoia. The writer spoke of bright eyes, entities that mimicked the voices of loved ones to gain entry. The writer claimed these things lived in the walls, bleeding a gray, sticky substance.
It read like a cheap horror story. Someone's creative writing project.
She noticed the parallels, but she filed them away. That night, her phone buzzed on the nightstand. A new notification. It was a voice note on WhatsApp from her mother's contact. Her mother had been dead for nearly a year. The account had been disconnected months ago.
What the hell?
Her breathing went shallow. Her hands wouldn't work the way she needed them to. She pressed play. At first, there was only the sound of rustling, like someone walking through a pile of dry leaves.
Sammy, I'm so glad I can get this message to you. I miss you so much.
Liz's name was not Sammy, but the voice was unmistakably her mother's. The cadence, the slight rasp, it was perfect.
It's a glitch. The server is just pushing old, corrupted data. That happens. That's a real thing that happens.
She told herself it was nothing. She went to the bathroom to splash water on her face. The hole in the baseboard was leaking again. The gray mucus had pooled on the linoleum, trailing toward the door. She stared at it. The cold she felt had nothing to do with the temperature of the room.
I'm calling the landlord tomorrow.
She took a roll of duct tape and covered the hole completely. She pressed the edges down hard. She thought it was over. That was the last decision she made with full information. The next evening, the wrongness escalated. Liz was brushing her teeth. She looked up into the bathroom mirror. The reflection of the room behind her was identical. Almost. Standing in the upper right-hand corner of the reflection, near the shower curtain, was a girl. Her pale skin was dull, her hair stringy. She looked to be in her late teens. She was not in the room. She was only in the glass.
Oh, God!
Liz spun around. The bathroom was empty. She looked back at the mirror. The girl was still there, staring at Liz with bottomless black eyes. Her mouth was slightly open, and Liz could hear a faint humming sound vibrating from the glass itself.
What the hell's going on?
Cassie had opened the door, annoyed and sleepy. Liz grabbed her arm, pointing wildly at the mirror.
In the corner, see? Her eyes are moving. She's watching us.
Cassie looked at the mirror. She looked at Liz. Her expression softened into pity.
Liz, go to sleep. You had a bad dream. There's nothing there.
Cassie couldn't see it. The anomaly was isolated to Liz's perception. Or it was choosing who could see it.
Liz retreated to her room. She opened the old diary again. She flipped to the final pages. The handwriting had devolved into jagged scratches.
They ask me to let them out. They sing my name through the walls. I have to play the game to keep them away.
Beneath the text was a drawing, a child's game of hangman. And beneath that, a sketch of a creature with 3 spindly legs and a wide mouth full of needle-like teeth. The caption read, "They come from the gray." Liz's phone buzzed. Another voice note from her mother.
Don't be afraid, baby. I know this is scary, but I need you to help me complete the game. It's the only way I can see you again.
Liz's throat closed. She typed a reply, her fingers shaking over the glass screen. "Who is this?" The reply came 3 seconds later. A voice note.
Stop being so selfish. Don't you love me? Under the light, hangman.
What investigators would later piece together was this. The voice notes were not glitches. They were not old data. The audio forensics team found background noise in the recordings. The faint sound of a dripping faucet. The hum of a specific 1970s refrigerator compressor. The voice notes were being recorded live from inside apartment 4B. On October 10th, Liz stopped going to the lab. She stopped speaking to Cassie. She sat on the living room floor, staring at her phone. She had noticed the peeling duct tape in the bathroom. She just hadn't known what it meant.
Every time, I thought I was imagining it. But the tape was pushed out from the inside. Something was trying to get through.
The diary, the gray mucus, the girl in the mirror, the voice of her mother. None of it had seemed connected. Now it did. The entity in the walls was using her grief as a key. At 3:33 a.m. on October 11th, Liz walked into the bathroom. The duct tape had been completely torn away. The gray mucus covered the lower half of the wall. Hundreds of tiny, needle-like teeth gnashed within the slime. Liz looked into the mirror. The pale girl was gone. Instead, Liz saw her own reflection. But the reflection was smiling. Liz was not. "Let me out." Liz didn't say it. Her reflection did. The voice that came from the glass was her mother's. "You will be soon." Liz took a piece of chalk she had found in the kitchen drawer. She sat on the bathroom floor, ignoring the gray slime soaking into her jeans. She began to draw the gallows. She began to play the game. She had to keep them busy. She had to keep them in the mirror. When Cassie returned the next evening, the apartment was silent. The bathroom door was locked from the inside. Cassie called the police at 8:14 p.m. They breached the door 12 minutes later. They found the shattered mirror. They found the chalk drawings on the floor, smeared with gray mucus. they found Liz's phone, playing the final voice note.
Thank you for playing, sweetie.
Liz was never found. No body, no exit footage on the building's security cameras. The official police report cited a probable mental breakdown and voluntary disappearance. The case remains open. The apartment was cleaned and rented out 3 months later. The new tenant recently submitted a maintenance request. She complained of a small hole behind the toilet, leaking a strange gray fluid.